Hello, everyone. This is From Milwaukee to Nashville. I'm Daniel Goodwin. No, that John Ludeski. How you doing,
Hey,
John?
pretty good.
Second live feed already this year. We're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
As the Admirals open up their season and the Preds are doing East and then West and then East and then West. It's just like, doot, doot, doot. I'm sure they feel like a ping pong ball at this point.
Right.
So as far as the travel goes. But let's get into that Preds game. But before we do, check out our sponsor, Hockey Locker, 2002 West Howard Avenue, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. You can call them at 414-800-7585 or visit their website at hockeylockermilwaukee.com or check them out at Hockey Locker on eBay. You'll see that logo.
All right. So the Nashville Predators took on the Boston Bruins today in Boston. In the first period, the Predators outshot the Bruins 15-11. In the second period, the Preds outshot the Bruins 13-11. In the third period, the Bruins outshot Nashville 9-7, and in total, Nashville outshoots the Bruins 35-31. Nashville was better in the faceoff circle at 56.3% to Boston's 43.8%. Boston on the power play goes 2 for 5 with 14 penalty minutes, while Nashville goes 0 for 7 with 10 penalty minutes. Nashville outshoots Boston 31-26 and outblocks Boston 21-16.
Hits, just sorry to correct that.
Oh,
You said shoots.
oh man.
I made a bluster last video, so we're good. We're good. It's still earlier in the season. Scoring in the first was Colton Sissons with a snapshot at the 3:29 mark, assisted by Sherwood and Barry. That is his second of the season already. Then scoring in the first, his first as a Bruin, James Van Riemsdyk. His first was an assist from Marchand, their newly found captain. His second, and McAvoy his first. That was scored on the power play at the 14:48 mark on a wrist shot, which, weirdly enough, came from McAvoy, tipped by Marchand, tipped by.
Right.
It was tipped twice, so I mean, not much a goalie can do there either.
No.
So it's like, one of those things. Just so John doesn't have to go through this mess, I'll cover here and you can take the last two.
Okay.
But Pasternak gets a penalty shot and he scores wrist shot, glove high on Saros. He literally didn't even give Saros a chance to get set. He was pedaling back and it just wired it. Pasta's a great player. Never gonna take nothing away from him, but Saros, you gotta be a little better in that situation.
Yeah.
He's good, so maybe playing a little deeper in the net and then coming out as he comes in, and then dropping back. If it's in your wheelhouse, obviously do that next. But,
Right. All right. So at the 16:54 mark of the second, Colton Sissons scores his third, assisted by Yossi his first, and Forsberg his third. Then in the third period at the 2:52 mark, James Van Riemsdyk scores his second with an assist from McAvoy, his second, and Pasternak his first. That was a power play goal.
Also a tip. Shooting ourselves in the foot by penalties is kind of becoming a theme.
Right.
I know we're a young team and jitters early on.
Yeah.
But you got to kick those.
Yeah, working on discipline.
You got to kick those. In net for the Bruins was Jordan Swayman. He stopped 33 of 35 with a .943 save percentage. In net for the Preds is UC Saros. He stopped 28 of 31 with a .903 save percentage. Back at it against Edmonton on Tuesday. Next game, you had a good showing. You didn't win, but you had a good showing against a very good team.
Yep.
You put pressure to Boston a lot. They did. They put a lot of pressure on them. And you don't see that happen very much with Boston. Had this been a 7-game series, I'd say it'd go to 7 because it so could have went either way.
Yeah.
And for Preds fans, don't look at this as it's going to be hard. Just understand Yeah, we're 1-2, but we're not at the bottom of the basement. That belong. Well, Chicago does have a win, so we're right there with them. Looking at it from the way it is, we're a young team. If it takes a little time for this to click, and maybe this year's not our year, there's plenty of opportunity for improvement amongst finding who can build around.
Right.
And who you want around, because that's also a job of Trotz now, is to look at what he has and goes, I don't know if you're going to finish going forward.
Yeah.
And then that's really going to be what it's going to have to be. And if it does swing downhill.
Yeah.
But looking from a coaching perspective and from the way they played, I don't see that being a big problem.
Yeah.
I just think they need to click and get going, and they'll be fine. Once they get going, they'll be fine. Like if they show what they did against Seattle, and they kind of did here too.
Yeah.
It's just they didn't go in.
Right.
And Swayman's a great young goaltender, so that's not a big problem either. So, when it comes to that game in particularly. Now, before we get into this Wolves game, first off, Chicago Wolves, fix your feeds. Holy. I feel like I was watching in, what was that, chipmunk mode.
Mm-hmm.
You know how you speed something up and it sounds really goofy?
Yeah.
That. You just lower the, you speed it up. It was pretty bad. Their feed today was really rough to watch. Not a good showing by the Wolves on a free feed.
Right.
Like, oh yes, come buy our product. It's horrible.
Yeah.
And no shot at, in a way, is that a shot at AHL TV? That is a shot at the manufacturers of the feed, which is each team is individually responsible for their own feed.
Right.
So let's get into that. Boy.
All right. So the Milwaukee Admirals took on the Chicago Wolves in Rosemont.
Rosemont.
All right. So shots on goal in the first, Milwaukee outshoots Chicago 13-4. In the second, Milwaukee outshoots Chicago 18-8. In the third, Chicago outshoots Milwaukee 9-5. And in total, Milwaukee outshoots Chicago 37-21. Milwaukee on the power play goes 0 for 6 with 18 minutes, 9 infractions, while Chicago goes 0 for 9 with 12 minutes, 6 infractions. 15 penalties by both teams.
Talking about his first game.
Yep.
Jitters. I mean, look how many rookies we got.
Right.
I mean, we got a lot of rookies. And I mean, Keble's still a rookie.
Yeah.
By a long shot, Keble is a rookie.
Right.
Keble is probably who I'm looking at most.
Yeah.
But, that I will give a lot of props to that Wolves team over there that just stood in the way of a lot of shots.
Yeah.
This could have been way worse. Yeah. I would love for the AHL to have a block shot stat on this game because both teams, and I think Milwaukee more so than Chicago, were blocking shots because more so we have the size to do so.
Right.
But the Wolves played really well for what not being affiliated.
Right.
Scoring in the first was nothing. Scoring in the second, scoring at the 16-11 mark was Nathan Soucis with an assist from former Admiral Matt Donovan and Alex Green. All of their firsts. Obviously, it's the first game of the year.
Yeah.
The Admirals overcommitted on that one, and he was just left wide open on the far post from where the puck was. And it just got to him, and he wired it into the back of the net. Not much Yarrow could do there. There was nobody there to help him.
No, there wasn't.
There's nobody putting pressure on that forward, and that's just a little overcommit, maybe a little jitters.
Yeah.
Like I said, I know it was a second, but I don't know or remember who was all on the ice for that one.
Right.
Then scoring literally about 2 minutes, 20 seconds later was Dennis Gyurdoff. He scored his first as an Admiral with an assist from Del Gaizo, his first, and Fedor Svechkov, his first North American pro point. Yeah, first North American pro point. Then in the third, nothing, and we went to overtime. So when we read the stats, it sounded like we were missing one shot. Well, that's all it took.
Yeah.
Spencer Stastny scores off of an assist of a nice long stretch pass. Something we talk a lot about with the Preds.
Right.
And and here we are. You know, system, it's just the same always.
Yeah.
Top to bottom, these guys are able to move.
Right.
And go play. And Stastny again being the hero of the Admirals again.
Right.
This guy doesn't shy away from the spotlight at all.
No, he doesn't.
First North American multi-point game for Fedor Svechkov. We were skeptical when they drafted him.
Yeah, a little bit.
2 assists in his first North American professional game. I think my skepticism should die down a little. And expectations could go a little bit this way.
Right.
Ty Fellimer with an assist. We all know what he's capable of.
Yes, we do.
So we saw a lot of him, and it's good to see him back.
Yeah,
I know that in the playoffs he got released, and that's just hard because he was such a big part of keeping us in that picture.
Right.
And I know that when they offered that contract and he signed it, that I even said, I was like,
right,
because he earned that.
Yeah.
You know, like Tommy Apop a couple years ago, he came in on a PTO, signed an SPC after the PTO because he was just blocking shot after shot after shot.
Yeah.
It was so instrumental to our penalty kill that we just kept him around. You know, so I think that, you know, got a lot to clean up on both games.
Yeah, for sure.
It's still early in the season. 2 of the youngest rosters in the 2 leagues.
Yep.
You know, I've been saying that about my Sabres. Like, they're so young. They're making young mistakes.
Right.
And I see it with the Preds too. So don't get me wrong. I see it with the Preds too. But that decor of the Preds is what's keeping them in these games, and their ability to stretch the ice and make it move. You're able to see guys like Fabro, Yossi, Barry, and McDonough all jump up into the play and make plays.
Right.
On that defensive side. In Milwaukee, you see the same thing with Del Gaizo and Glass and Graval and I need to find the rest of the names here. Stastny. Livingstone seems more of a stay-at-home guy, but I'll take those guys. Guys like him and Graval are important. Yeah. Graval's more of like a two-way guy, kind of can do both. You know, I think Jankowski needs to chill a little. I know your gut sent down. I know you're a little frustrated, but chill. Get back to where you were.
Yeah.
You and Giranov, and I'm sure you'll be back up there in no time.
Right.
You know, in Nashville, the window for the door of making the NHL, it's never closed. If you want proof, ask guys like Mark Van Gilder, who had their first NHL game at 30 with the he was with the Admirals from the start, and he was here for almost 6-7 years, I think. And you know, Nashville signed him. They needed a center, and he went up and got to play his first game at 30. Don't ever think that door is closed.
Right.
Look at guys like Janot who came in here. You got guys like Gaudreau who came in here, now with Minnesota, obviously, but a big part of what they're doing over there.
Right.
You know, it's just so if you have those kinds of guys going through your system, it makes it so much easier. Going forward, Tuesday, Edmonton. Obviously, McDavid, Draisaitl.
Right.
The return to Ekholm. It's in Bridgestone, so the return to Ekholm to Bridgestone, if he's able to go.
Right.
I've heard rumbling that he was hurt or had an injury during the offseason. That Edmonton team has been getting smacked around a little bit.
Yeah.
if we can play like we've been playing, I think we got a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it close, play good hockey, and I think they got a chance.
Yeah.
Up next for the Admirals, we got the Texas Stars. They've got something to prove. We eliminated them from the playoffs last year in Texas. As me and you remember, we're just like, oh, I'm so ready for this to be over at that time.
Yeah.
And then it was a couple days before that we were like that because we knew we were going back to Texas.
Right.
And we knew that our chances there were slim.
Yeah.
And we did it, and we're just like, we get there, and they just a little bit with us with Coachella, smacking us around a little bit. And then we got back home, and that atmosphere was just, it ate me up.
Yeah.
I was like so excited to be part of it, and I want to start the season this year. So, to all fans, I'm calling on you to be loud at home opener. I'm calling you to where they cannot hear. I want them to make sure they know whose house this is. And no, we're not talking about AEW. High Swerve. But no, we're obviously feeling festive. We love our holidays around here. Me and him do the draft around the 4th of July. We're always wearing tank top with an American logo on it, and the lights are all red, white, and blue changing, and we do all that stuff. Coming soon in the near future, I have some. We have next week we'll be debuting our NHL stories. First week of the season, not really wanting to dive into the initial stories, so we're gonna take a look. As well as next weekend, we will also be looking at the In the System, kind of do a quick glance over on that. We don't do the Admirals in those for about the first couple months because this month the Admirals schedule is extremely light. Where some teams are playing maybe 10, 15 games, we're playing 9.
Yeah.
So there are some teams already that got 2-3 games. As of tomorrow, we'll have 3 games played already. You know, they had a 3-3 to start the season. So, just saying, we'll see where we're at. It's our home. We're ready to defend it.
Yeah.
Speaking of defending homes, Boston was one of the best at it last year. So
yeah, they were.
Another thing I wanted to add in before I let this one cease for the night. We are approaching here. Also leave down in the comments who all watched a Friday the 13th or any of the Jason Voorhees series over the last 24 hours. I saw 2 of them. I saw the Friday the 13th, the 2009 one, and then I saw Freddy vs. Jason. So happy Saturday the 14th, everybody. Since we didn't have a show yesterday. If we did, I would be wearing my Jason hockey jersey. I want to get a Freddy hockey jersey just to scare my child. Freddy is definitely frightened my child when watching Freddy versus Jason. He was like, I want to watch, 9 years old, how we all were when parents were watching a horror movie close to us going to bed, and they're like, I want to watch. So you let them watch until they're scared, and then you send them off the back. Yep, and then you, Mommy! Middle of the night. So no, I kid, but I remember when I was a kid. The Shining, The Omen. Let's see. The Nightmare on Elm Street. There were like 4 of them. There's 3 Jason movies plus Jason X plus Friday the 13th. You're looking at least those. And then if you're talking real horror films, you can watch what is that? The Rob Zombie flicks of the late 90s, early 2000s, almost House of a Thousand Corpses and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
Like I like Insidious and Paranormal Activity. So those are the kind of like I like slasher films and ghosts.
Yeah.
So the one that always like there's horror films that make me laugh and they're not supposed to.
Right.
Like The Grudge. The Grudge makes me laugh and it's not supposed to. It's an insanely boring movie with a slow pace.
Yeah.
And it's not scary at all.
Right.
So I just laugh at it. I'm just like, you're not that scary. But if my kid watches it, he's just like, you know. Given the Halloween themes, you know, comment some Halloween movies you watched when you were younger. Good to see kind of different generations kind of talk about that stuff. So, but back to the hockey note because it is October, so we are talking about hockey. Anything on these two games that outside of the feed for this one that we're currently pulling up? So, what about the Admirals game? Did that stuck out to you?
No, I thought they played really well together with having a lot of young, new players to the fan. I thought they did very well.
Yeah, I mean, you've been scouting them for like 2 years at this point, outside of guys like Cal O'Reilly and Troy, who we've seen for years.
And the discipline comes over time, when it comes to penalties and everything like that.
And to be honest, these two don't really like each other.
No,
so
they've never liked each other.
Like, just start your season with a straight on, like, this is the rivalry of, like, Packers, Bears, Bucks, Bulls, Wisconsin versus Illinois,
Right.
like that, boom, boom, boom. Like even Wisconsin versus the Iowa.
Yeah.
Which congratulations to Iowa, even though go Bucky.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that I look at it and it's interesting to me how well Adam Shield played.
Yeah.
Shield spent most of the year last year in the E.
Yeah.
And that
or Idaho, I believe.
Yeah. The Idaho Steelheads, I think they are.
Steelheads.
Okay. So, well, look at me, knowing my ECHL teams. We're gonna have to get to cover our affiliate this year, Atlanta, soon.
Atlanta does play tomorrow.
Yes, we will have a graphic up for you guys. Unfortunately, he has company over for the premiere of Rick and Morty. Some of us like it, some of us don't. Yeah. To each their own. But I have decided to take some time and spend it with my family, maybe some time with my friends, through social ways of, I don't know yet, but
right. The holidays, get together with your friends, watch a horror movie.
Yep, those kinds of things. We all get together. It's funny because me and John were talking about that the other day about getting together, maybe watching the new Winnie the Pooh,
Blood and Honey.
Yeah, Blood and Honey. Maybe getting together and watching that because it did curious me. It didn't look good.
No, it really didn't.
But I was very curious.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't do a virtual one where we just go, okay, we're both throwing it out. Oh, wait, yeah, you would have to be here. It's on Peacock.
It's on Peacock.
And I have Peacock. Yeah, so, all right. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for watching our banter to get over the YouTube limit for monetization. And see ya. By the way, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.